White people will never pay the black people back for what they done to us. Never.
What they did to you?
They done a lot of things wrong. They killed and shot our black people down. They took the land off them. They took our culture off them. Now they're trying to take our pride, but no ways. They got no chance of getting that. There's too many pride being broken, hated, many hearts been broken over what happened years ago in the older generation. And it's the young generation in days of today that stands up and fight for what happened to the old generation and old people.
History has never just been about what happened. It's about what's been told, and more importantly, what's been left out. For centuries, Black history has been clipped down to pain, chained to struggle, and packaged neatly between slavery and civil rights. But that's not our beginning, and it's certainly not our whole story. Most of us were taught a version of Black history that was incomplete at best. We didn't learn about Queen Zinga, Mansa Musa, or thriving communities like Black Wall Street. We missed out on the brilliance, the innovation, and the power that shaped the world. That's why Black History Unlocked created the History Books Forgot to Say We Were More Than Enslaved, a digital ebook that reclaims the truth and tells the stories you probably didn't learn in school. Click the link in our bio to get your copy today and reclaim the narrative.
There's one comment of somebody saying that I'm mad because white people own black people. First of all, I'm gonna keep it a beam with you, bro. Black people didn't need white people. White people needed black people. Let's be honest. You guys traveled 6,000 miles to go get black people out of Africa. It didn't happen the other way around. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, white people tried to enslave white people. It didn't work because they kept lying. Niggas are useless even as slaves, bro. That's crazy work.
When white people in the United States balk at the idea of paying reparations to black Americans who descended from slaves, they disagree with the Bible. Reparations are a form of compensation or restitution made to those who have suffered injustice, particularly those in cases of racial inequality, discrimination, and slavery. The idea of paying reparations to black Americans is not a new one. It has been a topic of discussion for decades, if not centuries. However, it has gained renewed attention and support in recent years, following the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement and the growing recognition of systemic racism in American society. As a Christian, I believe that reparations are not only a matter of justice and equity, but also a reflection of God's character and values. In the Bible, we see numerous examples of God's concern for the oppressed, the marginalized, and the downtrodden. From the Israelites' liberation from slavery in Egypt to the ministry of Jesus among the poor and the outcast, we see a consistent theme of God's love for those who are on the margins of society. One of the key biblical principles that underlie the idea of reparations is the concept of restitution. In the book of Leviticus, we see God commanding the Israelites to make restitution to those whom they have wronged. Leviticus 6, 1-5 says, "If anyone sins and commits a breach of faith against the Lord by deceiving his neighbor in a matter of deposit or security or through robbery, or if he has oppressed his neighbor or has found something lost and lied about it, swearing falsely in any of all the things that people do and sin thereby, if he has sinned and has realized his guilt and will restore what he took by robbery when he got it by oppression or deposit that was committed to him, or the lost thing that he found, or anything about which he has sworn falsely, he shall restore in full and shall add a fifth to it, and give it to him to whom it belongs on the day that he realizes his guilt." This passage emphasizes the importance of making restitution to those who have been wronged, and not just restoring what was taken, but adding to it as a form of compensation. This principle of restitution can be applied to the issue of reparations to black Americans who have suffered centuries of enslavement, discrimination, and systemic oppression. Another biblical principle that supports the idea of reparations is the concept of Jubilee. In Leviticus 25, God commands the Israelites to observe a Jubilee every 50th year, during which all debts are forgiven, all slaves to be set free, and all property to be returned to its original owners. This was a radical idea of economic justice designed to prevent the accumulation of wealth and power in the hands of a few and to ensure that all members of society had equal access to resources and opportunities. The idea of Jubilee can be seen as a model for reparations in that it seeks to address the root causes of inequality and oppression rather than just treating the symptoms. By forgiving debts, freeing slaves, and returning property, Jubilee seeks to create a more just and equitable society, one in which everyone has the opportunity to flourish. As a Christian, I believe paying reparations to Black Americans is only a matter of justice and equity, but also it is a reflection of God's values and character. Through the biblical principles of restitution and jubilee, we see a model for how we can address the historical and systemic injustices that have plagued our society for far too long. While the issue of reparations is complex and contentious, I believe that as Christians, we have a responsibility to seek justice.
It is your mistreatment at the hands of white people that has caused God to send down his judgment on America. Now you, in your silliness, are so forgiving. White folk ain't even asked for forgiveness. I want you to hear me. White folk haven't even acknowledged that they did you wrong. They have not repented for what they did to your fathers and what they're doing to you and what they plan against your future. But God knows their thoughts, their plans, and because he knew them before they came into existence, he planned their destruction before they were born.
So first off, I just want to say I love white people. There's white people in my family, and like my niece is mixed, and you know I do have love for white people, but sometimes it's hard to forgive white people or their ancestors for what they've done to black people. Like I'm talking about Emmett Till, Nat Turner, Martin Luther King. It's hard, and slavery. It's hard to like move forward when there's so much things in the past. And to this day, like even like the racism of today, like I personally don't understand why some white people just hate black people so much. I will never understand it, and it's hard to forgive and forget. It's hard. I know I'm not the only black person that feel that way. Sometimes it's hard to forgive and forget what the predecessors of the past done, the damage they done, the psychological abuse and mental abuse of what white people have done to black people.
The only reason that white people in the United States or anywhere we are, in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, in Israel, wherever we are the colonizers. We are the colonizers, and we live off the expense of the assault, Europe's assault on Africa, the kidnapping of African human beings, the trafficking, all of these things that we hear today. This is where it came from. Hundreds of years of assaulting and stealing everything that African people and Africa as a continent had and putting it into the hands of white people. And so this is why, as the chairman has said, the true class struggle, the true working class in the world is the African and colonized working class, not white people, because all white people, and you know this is true, you and I know this is true by just living our lives and seeing it, all white people sit on the pedestal on the backs of African and indigenous people. And, you know, the statistics are that even poor white people have an easier ability in a crisis to raise $3,000 in an emergency than middle-class African people do. Yeah. Because we live in social wealth. Yeah. We live with the wealth surrounding